What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and a little bit more for Warhammer here. We've already gotten into Warhammer Underworlds a fair bit, but decided to pick up some newer factions here. So today we're going to take a look at Morgwaeth's Blade-Coven and show you guys all the minis there and the cards and everything, and how these guys get a look at kind of how these guys I think will play. But before we get into that, and before we get everything open, guys, make sure you hit that like and subscribe just to help us continue to grow. Appreciate everybody who's been doing that. So if we take a look at the backside real quick, too, before we dig in, right? So we can see that we're going to get 5 minis in this group here, and kind of a reflection of the way that these daughters of Cain essentially play, which is basically going to be, at least I'm guessing at the outset here, fairly fast. They're going to hit pretty hard, but again, are going to be kind of glass cannony in that sense. But anyway, we'll figure this out. So we get 5 fighters, 5 fighter cards naturally, 32 of the Blade-Coven, and then 27 universal upgrade power and objective cards. So we're going to see what everything's about. So we're going to flip that back over, and then we'll be back after we get everything open for you guys. Alrighty, guys, we're back. We got everything open up here for you, and again, you get a fair bit in these little boxes, which is kind of one of the appeals of the game as well. So super easy to get into, and hey, if you get bored with your faction, just pick up another one. Relatively low cost for all of them, right? And then they always, of course, give you so many more cards and everything else too. So it just adds to the fun as you collect these factions. But anyway, so the minis themselves here. So can get this purplish colored plastic, and these are all fairly easy to assemble ones as well. So again, great for beginners, but really good detail there as well. And again, they're all basically textured bases. So we'll flip that around here for you guys. And kind of just walk it through there. So overall, pretty neat stuff there. We get our instruction booklet as well. Again, not overly complicated. As you can see, generally about 3 pieces per model or thereabouts. Some are less. And again, really cool looking faction. So this should be a fun one to paint up. Let us know in the comments, guys, if you have played Morgwaeth's Blade-Coven and how that's gone for you so far. What your overall strategies are and everything else, and what other warbands have you had trouble with, or which ones are a little bit easier for you. So as per normal, we get a little fluff card here, which is basically also found, I think, on the back of the box and elsewhere. But taking a look at the faction here, so again, this is the uninspired side, so we're going to rearrange a little bit here just to get some more space and kind of walk through this here. So starting, and not necessarily at the bottom, but just kind of the order that the cards were in. So we have Camis. So she's got a barbed whip, and it combos with the bladed buckler there. So, and again, as I was suspecting, these guys are going to be fairly fast, but really can't take too much of a punch. So, and then would seemingly, these guys will flip when it's the 3rd round, basically. So, got to survive until then. So she can't be driven back. That's kind of nice, right? Bladed buckler reaction after this fighter's attack action with combo. Make this attack action. All right, I like that. Let's check her out when she is inspired. So actually, let's go back real quick. So we go 2-3-2 on the whip, 1-1-1 on the buckler, and then on her own personal stats 4-1 and 2. And so that goes to 5-2 and 2, so even faster. And then the whip stays the same, right? 2-3-2. Yeah, the buckler gets a little bit better though, so that's pretty cool. So pretty neat there. Then we move on to Kyrie. So she's got the bow. So this should be the Medusa looking one, right? So yeah, 4-3 and 1 there. Sacrificial knife as well. So again, doesn't seem like she's going to hit too hard, but hey, ranged attacks are always fun. No other special abilities on her, but she has a decent chunk of hit points there, and is also pretty fast. So her inspiration, again, once it gets to 3rd turn. So the bow doesn't change, right? I think stays at 4-3-1. But the knife, I think, gets a little bit better. Yeah, 1-3 and 2. So if need be, she can mix it up a little bit there. What do we got here? Cursa. She just has knives, 4, 1, and 2 on the bottom there. Sacrificial knives on a critical hit. This action does an extra damage, so that's always nice. And when she gets inspired, the knives, I think, what, right? 131, 131, nothing changes there, but she gets a little bit of a stat boost as is normal. Then leather, also sacrificial knives. So it seems like these two are basically the same. Yeah, so basically, seems like these two are basically like exactly the same. Although, on her knives, though, what do we got going on here? If the attack roll includes 2 or more successes and this attack action succeeds, resolve the deal damage step twice. Well, there we go. That's nice. So, beyond that, though, it seems like still very similar. But being able to resolve that twice, though, I think is probably important for like triggering cards and other stuff like that. So, so a difference there. And then finally, the boss, Morgwaeth the Bloodied. So she has all kinds of stuff going on here. So 2/2/2, Glaive of Cain. 4/2/4 on her personal stats there. And then what do we got going on here? Blood Sacrament. So whenever an enemy fighter is taken out of action, choose and inspire one friendly fighter. Cool, so you can get that action before the 3rd turn. Do this after any reaction to the action or gambit that took the enemy fighter out of action, after any reactions to the enemy fighter being taken out of action. That's a whole lot of that's a little bit wordy there, but I think that does overall still make sense. But let's see here. Let's see. Whenever an enemy has taken inspire one friendly fighter, so I wonder, can she inspire herself? Let us know in the comments, guys. Probably have to check on that. But anyway, so pretty decent to start out with. She's not necessarily a beast, but I'm sure with all the upgrade cards in here, that can be changed. The knives gain, or sorry, not the knives, the glaive gains a little bit more of a punch when she is inspired. And then the ability is the same there, so nothing else. Oh, it does have cleave, though. I think we missed that on the first one. Does it have it here? Yep, still has cleave. Okay, cool. Liking that. So overall, seems like that will be relatively fun. Then, again, we have our generic cards here that we get added. That's always, again, the fun part of picking up these sets. So don't really have time to go through these in detail in this video, but I'm just going to kind of flip through them briefly here for you guys just to give you a look. But so we get Absolute Stillness, Abundance of Caution, and again, the nice thing with this game, being able to pick up just more factions, you get the generic cards that we're kind of going through here, and then just having that larger pool of cards to draw from for your various factions. You never know what can be combined or comboed as you build your decks for your factions as the game evolves and all that stuff. Master of Hazards, No One is Safe, Set the Tempo. That's pretty spicy, but hell of a lot of stuff you got to do to actually get that to go off. Test of Courage is kind of cool. And the Hunter Hunted is a nice one as well. So then, what do we got here? We got Euphoric Dust. So it's poison. It's pretty cool. So choose an enemy fighter adjacent to one or more friendly fighters. -1 defense from that enemy fighter to minimum of 1 until the next step. So again, helps push that damage through, since these guys aren't overly beefy like some of the other hard hitters that are out there in some of the factions, but again, they have other ways of pushing their damage through. Glorious Triumph. Oops. Honest Scrap. So pretty cool there. Hunt as a pack. Hunting Bolt. Malkin Grace. Interesting. Quick Search. So it's nice when you can get some extra card draw. Spiteful Dart. Victimize. That just sounds fun for the game. The Amber Bone Mace. Nice. Bloody Axe. This fighter has 2 more wound tokens, double the damage characteristic. Well, there we go. I'll take 4 damage at a pop, or potentially more. Greedy Gauntlet. Hunter's Talisman. Restricted to Hunter. Kayla's Choking Coil. Lost page. It's kind of cool. Predator's Trinket. Shade Glass Band. Stealthy Blade. Ooh, nice. So they can't use reactions against you when you're using that. Well, that certainly shuts off a lot of things, so that's always a nice ability to have. Vortex Stone, which sounds cool. Alright, so again, just a quick glance through those. Again, those are the generics. At some point, we'll likely, if we get the time, look at everything in more detail here for you guys. Let us know in the comments, too, if you want to look through those as well, if you haven't already picked these guys up. So, Blessings of Cain. So, score this in the end phase if 2 or more surviving friendly fighters are inspired. Again, different names, but a lot of these cards are going to be very similar across factions. Bloodright, Surge. Score this immediately when a friendly fighter holding an objective makes an attack action that takes an enemy out of action. Nice. Consecrate to Cain. Score this immediately when a friendly fighter's range 1 or 2 attack action takes an enemy fighter holding an objective out of action. So, hey, nice. Daughters of the First Temple. Score this in an end phase if 2 or more enemy fighters are out of action. Okay. Score this, Devoted Disciple. Score this in an end phase if 1 or more surviving friendly fighters have 1 or more wound tokens. Seems like that will often be the case. Perfect. Kill. Surge. Score this immediately when a friendly fighter's attack action deals exactly enough damage to take that fighter's target out of action. Proof of Devotion. Ooh, that's spicy. Hybrid. Score this in the 3rd end phase if all enemy fighters are out of action. Okay, yeah. Or your warband holds all objectives in enemy territory. Well, you certainly have the speed to get there. But nice to pile on the points there if you do wipe the board with the opponent. Potentially. So, what do we got? Purposeful Strike. Score this in end phase if a friendly fighter with 1 or more charge tokens is holding an objective. Sure. Oops. What else we got? Score this in end phase if your warband holds 3 or more objectives. Yep. Swift Sacrifice. Score this immediately when a friendly leader or Kyrie makes a range 1 or 2 attack action that takes an enemy fighter out of action. Nice. Torturous Death. Surge. Score this immediately when your warband takes or makes a 3rd or subsequent attack action that targets the same enemy fighter in this phase. Or if you're ganging up on somebody. Nice. Should be possible. Especially with the one chick that can go twice. Nice. Triumphant Stance. Duel. Score this in an end phase if 1 enemy or 1 friendly fighter is holding an objective and no other fighter is holding an objective. Might be a little bit tougher to pull off, but hey, stuff happens. So, last thing to look at then are upgrades and other stuff that they get here. So, Bloodbane Venom. So, you might notice a theme running through the stuff that these guys do. Reaction, play this after a friendly fighter's successful range 1 or 2 attack action. Roll 3 attack dice for each of those. The target of that attack action is dealt damage, so yikes, that's pretty nasty, potentially. Carve a Rune. Play this during a friendly fighter's range 1 or 2 attack that succeeds before dealing damage if there was 1 or more of those icons rolled. In the attack roll, gain 1 spent glory point. So, cool. Restricted to Morgwaeth, so Catechism of Murder. Choose 1 friendly fighter. That fighter is inspired. Nice. Again, anything we can do to get these ladies, and we use that term lightly, inspired before the 3rd turn is going to be a good thing. Heal 1 each friendly fighter within 2 hexes of your leader. Nice. Drill to Perfection. Choose 1 friendly fighter and up to 1 adjacent friendly fighter. Give each of them 1 guard token. Cool. Fanatical Faith. The first time a friendly fighter would be dealt any amount of damage, in the next activation it is dealt just 1 damage instead. So potentially save you from just getting stomped by something that hits pretty hard. Headlong Fury. Choose 1 inspired friendly fighter. The chosen fighter makes a move action. Do not give the chosen fighter a move token for that action. Cool. In the next activation, friendly fighters other than Kyrie treat lethal hexes as normal hexes, and can move through occupied hexes, but cannot end their move in an occupied hex. Nice. Perfect precision. You can reroll one attack dice in the attack roll of the first attack action made by a friendly fighter in the next activation. Zealot's Rage. Reaction, play this after friendly fighter's attack fails. You may make an attack action. Nice. Crimson Shard. Restricted to Morgwaeth herself. You can reroll one attack dice in this fighter's attack rolls for range 1 or 2 attack actions. The Crone Blade. So some pretty decent stats there. After this attack action, if it succeeds, heal this fighter. So yeah, that's pretty damn cool. Basically, keeping your character alive or whoever you put it on. But I mean, that on Morgwaeth seems like a pretty nasty thing. Anyway, reaction after this fighter. This is the Death Dancer. After this fighter's attack action, not during a super action. Push this fighter a hex. This one's restricted to Kyrie, High Oracle's Butcher. After her attack action that takes an adjacent enemy fighter out of action, gain an extra glory point. Nice. Invigorated Attack, plus one dice to this fighter's attack actions while this fighter is holding an objective. Nice, especially if you can camp on one and shoot arrows like somebody in this faction does. Rapturous Defense. Hey, just plus one defense, either Cursa or Leather. Rune of Cain. Morgwaeth herself. When this fighter is taken out of action by an enemy fighter's attack action or an enemy warband's gambit, before removing this fighter from the battlefield, each adjacent enemy fighter's dealt 1 damage. That's pretty awesome. So really makes it potentially painful for them to take her out, especially if they have somehow ganged up on her, or if you've just jumped into the middle of all of them. That could be sort of a strategy there, and just you might take out several people with you when that happens. So that's pretty damn cool. Rune of Slaughter. All right, plus 1 damage to this fighter's range 1 and range 2 attack actions for each of those icons in the attack roll. Nice. Victor of 1,000 Duels. Reaction during a range 1 attack action that targets this fighter and fails. Before the dry backstep, roll 1 attack dice on a roll of either of those symbols. This fighter cannot be driven back and can make an attack action. It must target the attacker. Makes sense. And hey, the Whirling Whip. Restricted to Camus. Surprising there, right? Anyway, has Scything as a special ability, and I think is going to be hitting a little bit harder than hers. So let's see if we can't pull her up here real quick, just as a side-by-side. So the Barbed Whip combos with the Buckler, they both hit equally hard, same attack dice, but yeah, so interesting. But I don't know, let us know, guys, if you think that's a good upgrade for Scything. Not thinking about that at the top of my head. What Scything does, we'll have to look that up. But anyway, overall, pretty cool stuff there. Lots to dig in, lots to think about as we work on building these guys and getting some games in. So not really going to modify anything crazy just off the top yet, kind of work with the cards in here, but then once we get a few games under our belt and kind of see what works, what doesn't work, we'll move on to other things with them and start building a more deadlier deck for them. So anyway, guys, let us know in the comments what you think of Morgwaeth's Blade-Coven here, how you've played them, any interesting combos or other things that you guys might suggest or things that you found have not worked. And again, let us know what your best matchups and what your worst matchups have been so far. So hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for hanging out as always, guys. Don't forget that like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.